O'Reilly here. Welcome to the No Spin News for Monday, March 2nd, 2026. Stand up for your country. I don't know why anybody was surprised when Saturday morning the announcement came that U.S. and Israel attacked Iran. Why would you be surprised? I mean, for weeks, President Trump was saying, look, we want to make a deal with these people. They got to stop their nuclear research, and they have to downgrade their ballistic missile capacity. And if they don't, then we're going to have to force them to do that. How many times did the man have to say that? And then, it shows you how distracted many people on this planet and in this country are. They don't know what the deuce is happening. And don't believe the polls. There's a bunch of polls out, snap polls after, we're opposed. These people who are being queried don't know anything. And then, I hate to be supercilious about this, word of the day, but you're talking to people who have no idea about why things happen or even what's happening because they don't consume information. They live in a bubble, which is becoming an increasing problem for the world. And the totalitarians love that. The less you know, the more they like it. Okay, let's go to the talking points memo about Iran. This is very important that you guys understand the big picture here. And again, if you disagree or want to know more, bill@BillO'Reilly.com. Bill@BillO'Reilly.com. Name and town, please. All right. So President Trump made brief remarks today, said that the military mission's ahead of schedule. I don't know what that means. I do know that the Pentagon, which is really in charge of the operation, and President Trump's in charge, but the Pentagon's calling the shots, want to downgrade the ballistic missile situation whereby Iran would not be able to fire missiles at Israel or any of the Arab countries they don't like or anybody else. So that may take some time to locate all of those missiles and blow them up. In the meantime, the allies, and there's just two of them, Israel and the USA, are after the people who are murdering the Iranian protesters, the people who want freedom. So they are being hunted. And I understand about 50 of them have already been eliminated, including the top mullah, as you know. Okay? They're all conferring with Allah even as we speak. Now, 4 Americans are dead in Kuwait. I spent some time in Kuwait in the first Gulf War reporting. Huge base over there for the USA. Some things went wrong, but this isn't a concentrated effort on the Iranians' part to kill American soldiers. I'm sure they'd like to, but they don't have the capacity to do it, which is pretty shocking if you think about it. I mean, here you have these mullahs threatening to blow up America and Israel. They can't even get a plane off the ground. I think they got one off in Oman, shot it out of the air. They don't have the capacity to wage this kind of war. They can build roadside bombs. They can blow up women and children. That's not hard. But to wage war against powerful military machines like the USA and Israel, they can't. That's important that you know that. This is all bluster. This is all BS. Okay? They cannot launch any effective resistance to what America is doing. Very important. What they can do is mobilize terrorism. And that is President Trump's biggest challenge. Because you got a lot of people here who are sympathetic to the jihad. Thank you, Joe Biden. Okay? They're here. And one of them acted out in Austin, Texas. 2 dead down there, a bunch wounded. And the guy's dead, but it looks like this guy was tied into the jihad. He's from Senegal. Anyway. It's political now, as everything is. So this is another important thing. The most important thing you have to understand today is Iran has no capacity to defend itself. And the United States is going to take full advantage of that and try to get a new regime in there. I don't know. Nobody knows. Whether that'll be successful or not, it's up to the Persian people. Second thing you need to know is the Democratic Party is going to oppose everything that Donald Trump does. It doesn't matter. The cliche is cure cancer, they'd oppose it. It's true. Now, Senator John Fetterman and a few Congress people, including my congressman here on Long Island, Tom Suozzi, they've supported the Iranian action. But by and large, the Democratic Party and their media enablers, the corporate media, will oppose everything that Donald Trump does. Now, it makes them look stupid, and we'll demonstrate that in a moment, but they don't really care about that. So tomorrow, Secretary of State Rubio, Defense Secretary Hegseth, CIA Director Ratcliffe, and General Dan Kane, Chairman of the Joint Chiefs, are going to brief House and Senate members about where we are. So that'll take place tomorrow in the late afternoon. And it's classified. So it'll leak, of course, because unfortunately members of our Congress don't respect classified information anymore. But I don't expect anything big there. A very unexpected thing happened, though. Kamala Harris condemned the action. Roll it.
Donald Trump has dragged us into a war the American people do not want. He has put American troops in harm's way. I unequivocally oppose this war of choice, and everyone should.
All right, now just keep this in perspective now. This is important. Ms. Harris is entitled to her opinion. But as vice president, she sat on her butt for 4 years and watched as the Biden administration released billions of dollars to Iran that were frozen, money that was frozen because of sanctions. Biden released the money, gave it to the mullahs, and the mullahs turned around and financed Hezbollah, Hamas, October 7th, the Houthis, and whatever other terror groups they could fund. That's what happened in the Biden-Harris administration. She's never, ever answered for that. Won't, can't. I don't even know if she knows it. I don't have much regard for Kamala Harris's intellect. But now she's condemning it. Okay. So you, lady, I'm sorry to be disrespectful, were vice president when an American administration for 4 years empowered mullahs in Iran to kill people, including Americans. That's what you did, and said nothing. You said nothing. Even in your campaign, you didn't repudiate it. It's real. I mean, this is the kind of stuff that gets me crazy. Okay. Now, the War Powers Act. I'm tired of it. It's not going anywhere. They've tried it and tried it and tried it to demand that the President of the United States, before any military action, gets approval from Congress. You cannot wage war in that fashion. Started with Soleimani. If you read Killing the Killers, my book, you understand that the Trump administration wiped out the head of the Iranian National Guard, as well as ISIS, continuing the Obama policy without congressional approval. Okay, that's what happened. And it's, we got a war powers resolution, war powers this. It'll never pass the Senate. You need 60 votes. Not happening. So you can run around on the talk shows all you want, screaming war powers this, war powers that, and it's going nowhere. You want to waste your time watching these shows? Up to you. The United States has not declared a war since World War II. That means Korea, 3 years, Vietnam, 6 years. These were undeclared wars. Okay? And the presidents did what they wanted to do. Truman and Johnson and Nixon. That's pretty stunning. So what the left wants is that Trump would have to walk in and say, yeah, on Saturday I'm going to go bomb Iran. So then Iran can prepare for the attack. Does that make any sense to you? Now, debriefings, okay, not mass. I would have called in a couple, head of the Armed Services Committee, that kind of thing, classified, know who they are, so they can be arrested if they violate the Classified Information Act. Okay? I would have given him, but Trump gave everybody a heads up, as I said in the beginning of the memo. All right, War Powers Act. God, it drives me nuts. United Nations, totally useless. Totally useless. Here is the Secretary General. Go.
Military action carries the risk of igniting a chain of events that no one can control in the most volatile region of the world. Let me be clear. There is no viable alternative to the peaceful settlement of international disputes. Lasting peace can only be achieved through peaceful means, including genuine dialogue and negotiations.
Yeah, well, you've done a really great job. 9/11, October 7th, you really did a good job. The United Nations is really effective. You guys can't even go to Haiti and pacify it. You can't even pacify Haiti. Oh, the negotiation. How long has it been going on? With the mullahs since 1979. Worldwide sponsored terrorism. What the UN do? Zero. Kamala Harris should be the Secretary General of the UN. Nothing. No, don't. Waste of time. 100%. The only thing that agency does that's any good is medical vaccinations for children, as far as I can see. That's it. The Pope, Leo. Okay, roll it.
Peace is not built with threats and arms. They generally result in destruction and death, but only through reasonable dialogue that's also authentic and responsible.
Now, I don't have beef with the Pope. That's the Pope's job, okay? The United Nations is supposed to protect the world. They don't do their job. The Pope, he wants peace. Peace at any price? Maybe. But his job is to try to tamp down killing. So I don't have a beef with that. And authentic and responsible dialogue, that's good. But I'm sure Pope Leo knows you're not going to get that from Putin or the mullahs. You're not going to get it. Not going to happen. But the Pope has to say that. He can't say blow the hell out of them. That's not what his job is. So there is a difference. The Catholic Church is not in a position to protect the world. It is in a position to teach peace and love. So the big difference. Okay. Summing up. And I'm going to get to the media in a moment. I can't tell you how this is going to work out. All right, I don't know. I can say, because I did talk to President Trump himself, one-on-one about it, that Mr. Trump did not want to do the action. He wanted a deal. Just like he wanted a deal with Maduro in Venezuela. They wouldn't do the deal. There was some urgency because they fast-tracked the nukes. After we hit them last June, yeah, we heard them. But then all of us, 2 weeks later, they were back trying to make another nuke. But Trump didn't want to do it. I can tell you that because I spoke to him about it. And we brainstormed about, and he thought he was going to get a deal. He didn't even thought mullah was going to be so crazy, and now the mullah is dead, the Ayatollah. And if you read Confronting Evil, where the Ayatollah Khomeini's on the cover and his predecessor has just joined him, you see how bad these people are. I got to send a copy of that book to the Pope. Anyway, I don't know how it's going to turn out. I don't oppose the action. I do caution the Trump administration to have everybody on alert for domestic terrorism. And that's the memo. Most people do not want a lecture when they are ill. They want medication fast. But too often, the system makes it harder than it should be. Appointments take weeks. Prescriptions get denied. Your insurance gets in the way. That's why more Americans are switching to all family pharmacy. If you already know what medication works for you, all family pharmacy makes it easy to get it. You order online, licensed doctor reviews a request, and your medication is delivered directly to your own door. They carry everyday prescription medications, antibiotics, ivermectin, NAD+, others you will not always find at big chain pharmacies. So choose freedom. Choose the right pharmacy. Choose All Family Pharmacy. Please go to allfamilypharmacy.com/Bill. Use my code BILL10. Save 10% on your next order. Joining us now from Washington is Jonathan Saya. He is the Iran program analyst at the Foundation for Defense of Democracies. So number one, I did a lot of bloviating there on my part. I hope I didn't bore you. Did I say anything wrong?
No, everything you pointed out was entirely accurate. Of course, the Islamic Republic has always sought to gain sanctions relief so they can try their best to fuel terrorism, and they've gotten that under President Obama. Of course, we saw very weak sanction enforcement under President Biden, and that's something that's played into their strategy. And if you look at Tehran's attacks in the region, they accelerated definitely under Biden, again because they were not afraid of consequences. And of course, now they are. So, deterrence is one thing, and peace through strength is something that the president has been very vocal about. And we're about to really see the achievements that are going to come from that strategy, of course. I just wanted to point out one other crucial point here. When we talk about putting U.S. personnel in harm's way, we have to keep in mind this is a regime that regardless was trying to kill Americans. If you look at any American, whether they were murdered or if they were injured in Iraq or in Afghanistan, all three running weapons. So this is not somehow some issue that just came out of the blue. This is something that the regime has been doing for years. And
yeah, but the difference is
into it.
The difference is that you have an American president ordering military action. So there is a subtle difference. But you know what's a real indicator here? Where's John Kerry? He's Biden's top negotiator with Iran, who failed dismally to get anything out of those people. He got nothing out of them. They got billions of unfrozen funds. We got zero. The world got zero. Where's Kerry? Okay, he's hiding someplace on Nantucket, I guess. It was a disaster. Am I wrong?
That was indeed a disastrous deal because Tehran got everything and we effectively, as you pointed out, got nothing out of it. We got no concessions. They kept their nuclear program. They went beyond that, and they were actually enriching uranium in undeclared sites. That's the first weapon for That's the first step for weaponization. And in return, they got sanctions relief for it, and of course, they funded October 7th, and that's really key. So if you look at every angle, it was a disastrous deal, and of course, this administration sought to get a better deal. But with this regime in Tehran, it is really challenging because they just want to play our diplomats. They want to play the political game here in Washington. So really, actually providing them with opportunities, them rejecting it, further legitimize this ongoing military campaign because we exhausted all diplomatic options.
Yeah, but they don't have any power now. They don't have anything. So it's just a matter of how much destruction they want to absorb, they being whatever council is left, theocratic council over there. And there are guys left that, can make a phone call or whatever, but they don't have anything at all. They're just helpless right now, or am I wrong?
You're correct. They do not have a functioning Air Force. They do have two lines of deterrence. One of them is the ballistic missiles that, of course, we've done a great job trying to intercept them. Israelis also accompanying us, trying to neutralize the missile threat, also going after the launchers, taking out the silos. Of course, we've been really proactive, taking out that number one layer of deterrence. Now, what comes after that is also funds of terrorism. Tehran has been tapping into its proxies, both in the region and, of course, in the West. We know they have an extensive network in Europe, not as much in America, but again, it's a real threat. So this is not to say these threats are not real, but is more so about saying how this administration has been able to effectively counter them. This was really the only US president that was able to meaningfully take the battlefield into Iran, something that no one has ever done, to actually put an end
That's
to this
true.
50-year
Nobody
campaign.
else wanted this thing. Even after 9/11, they did not want it. And so Trump has stepped up. The outcome, of course, the press is demanding, well, you should know already. I don't know. Do you know? Do you have any clue about how that thing's going to settle out in the next few weeks?
We have a broad understanding. So we do know Iran's anti-regime movement is inherently anti-Islamist. If you look at university protesters, you look at young people, which Iran is a young population, they're chanting not only against Islamism, but also against leftist values. They see this, the Islamo-Marxist alliance as something that has destroyed their country in the past 50 years. So if that's any indication, we know for a fact whatever comes after this regime is not only going to be secular, is also going to be an ally of the United States. Comes down to how the opposition is going to lead that. And the Crown Prince, really son of the Shah, has done an excellent job trying to mobilize the masses against this brutal regime. So all that's really left is, as the president noted, for the Iranian population to wait until the bombing campaign is over, and then they can go reclaim the country that has been really taken away from them by Islamists in the past half a century.
But I don't think it's going to be that easy because you have Revolutionary Guards still there, heavily armed. They're going to gun them down. And that brings me to my last question. When you see the Pope and you see the UN and you see Kamala Harris and you see all of this stuff, there were tens of thousands of people. I guess there's no legitimate stat that I can cite, but these are the reports that were murdered in the last month protesting against the mullahs. What kind of information do you have about how many protesters went down?
So the numbers we're hearing right now that have been confirmed by a few independent organizations are truly horrifying, in the tens of thousands, about 40,000 people. And unfortunately, that makes sense given that it's a population of 90 million. They have 10 cities, over 1 million people, and the capital has about 15 million people. And you're talking about a brutal regime that actually imported non-Iranian proxies, terror networks from Iraq or Afghanistan just to open fire on the masses. But that is exactly why the average Iranian now see this as a revolutionary movement. To them, there is no way out but through, which is, of course, really reinforced by US and Israel military campaign that has decapitated the leadership. As you pointed out, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps is a main concern, and the US strikes against them, against their leadership, has fundamentally weakened them, and that is exactly why it is very important for us to ensure that we're going to get defections out of these armed forces. And once really they see that there's no way out but through, we're going to increasingly see them defect, disobey orders, and join the people's movement, or as the president noted, face certain death.
Yeah, I mean, you got to hold the people who killed 40,000 individuals accountable. And that, again, goes into the ballywick of the people that are protesting all this military action. Very good interview, Mr. Saya. We really appreciate your time and expertise. We hope you come back. If you are a homeowner, there's no better time than now to call American Financing to wipe out that debt, eliminate the stress, set yourself up for a strong 2026. The Fed dropped rates for the fourth time in December. American Financing can help you access that equity in your home at an interest rate that's in the low fives. That is a much lower rate than the average 20% or more credit card rate. American Financing is saving their customers an average of $800 a month. There are no upfront fees, no obligation to see how much you can save. If you begin today, might be able to delay 2 mortgage payments. So please call 888-462-9557. 462-9557. AmericanFinancing.net/bill. Let's face it, the U.S. economy is under stress. National debt rising, trade war shaking the markets. And meanwhile, China is dumping the dollar and stockpiling gold. That's why I protected my savings with physical gold and silver through the only dealer I trust, American Hartford Gold. And you can do this. Get precious metals delivered to your door or place in a tax-advantaged gold IRA. They'll even help you roll over your existing IRA or 401k, tax and penalty free. With billions in precious metals delivered, thousands of five-star reviews, and an A+ from the Better Business Bureau, you can trust American Hartford Gold as I do. Please call 866-501-5201 or text BILL to 65532. Again, that's 866-501-5201 or text BILL to 65532. All right, here is the final thought of the day. So we were supposed to resurrect the factor on Wednesday, bring it back, because Cuomo on News Nation was going to go to Israel. He couldn't get there because of the Iranian action. Flights are all suspended. So he's going to be back in his chair. I will be on Wednesday with him. I'll be on Leland Vittert on News Nation tonight at 9, talking about Iran, of course. But we will revive the factor. So News Nation said, look, we can't do it this week, but we are going to do it. And boy, I had a great lineup. Hated to lose it, but I understand. You got to go with breaking news. So that is the update. We are going to revive the factory. It will happen on a special. And looking forward to it. Thank you very much for watching and listening to the No Spin News. And Bill O'Reilly. We'll see you tomorrow. Thank you for watching. To view full episodes of the No Spin News anytime, sign up to become a BillO'Reilly.com premium or concierge member today.